Well, we certainly got an intriguing one last night. Yeah. USC, LSU. We know what was at stake. By now, you know what happened. Iowa Sam, play us the final few seconds of that game.
13 seconds left in the game. Moss with the snap. Hands off to Marks. Up the middle. Into the end zone. Touchdown! They're going wild in half of this stadium as the Trojans are going to pull off the upset. How do you do?
By the way, USC wins 27-20. Should mention, Brian Kelly not happy with another loss on opening night. LSU's third straight opening night loss under Brian Kelly. Here's what he had to say after the game.
We're sitting here again. We're sitting here again talking about the same things. About not finishing when you have an opponent in a position to put them away. But what we're doing on the sideline is feeling like the game's over. And I'm so angry about it that I got to do something about it. I'm not doing a good enough job as a coach. And I got to coach him better because it's unacceptable for us not to have found a way to win this football game. It's ridiculous.
That was Brian Kelly after the game again. USC wins 27-20. VJ, just from your perspective, biggest takeaway, but also, do you believe this was a bigger win for USC or a bigger loss for LSU?
That's 50-50 for me because it meant the same to both. First of all, my biggest takeaway is both these programs have replaced their quarterbacks. Both these programs have replaced their quarterbacks, number one. Number two, both these programs have receivers and skill position players that can end up being top 15, top 20 picks next year. These receivers, Kyron Lacy, wow. Wow, young man. Hey, you keep it up, young man. You're gonna be in the NFL making a lot of money. It feels like LSU is becoming wide receiver U. They just kind of reload these guys at the receiver position. But my biggest takeaway from what he just said was he's right. It's coaching. And now that I'm in football coaching, you have to be accountable first. You can't always blame the players. If you're not coaching your guys up and putting them in the right position, in the right predicament, in right situations to be successful, that's on you as a coach. Because we're going to get into Dabo a little later. I'm not sure if we're doing it this hour. Next hour, I'll check the rundown. But we're going to get into Dabo because coaching is where it starts. It always irritated me, Aaron, and I'm sure you guys have heard this. You ever heard people say, anybody could coach that team?
Of course, yeah.
Or coaching doesn't matter. Bull crap. If coaching didn't matter, we wouldn't have coaches. If coaching didn't matter, coaching definitely matters. So I give him props for taking it on himself and saying we are sitting here and I can identify with that. When you tell your coaches or you tell your kids the same thing over and over and over and over again, and it's still not happening. Okay, what am I doing wrong? Do I need to get – it sounds like to me, Aaron, honestly, some people might be getting a pink slip. That's what it sounded like to me by saying, and I got to do something about it. Because you can't cut a kid, right?
Well, the NIL era, you just stop paying them. But
yeah, well, I mean, but the businesses are going to have something to say about that. Trust me, the people that are paying the NIL money are going to have something to say about that. But it sounds like to me, there's a couple of position coaches possibly that could be looking for new jobs.
Yeah, so for people who didn't see the game live, what Brian Kelly is talking about, LSU kicks a game-tying field goal with a minute 39 to go, excuse me. Or excuse me, I don't for some reason, let's see here. Let me make sure I have this correct. Yes,
it was a minute change.
Yeah, minute 47 was left on the clock. USC gets the ball back. It goes without saying they not only go the length of the field, but there was also a penalty on LSU on that final drive. That certainly helped things. So you look at it was a personal foul, whatever. And so that they were already sort of in field goal range, but that put them on the goal line. So that's what I think Brian Kelly is talking about is when he says we let our foot off the gas, it's tied with under 2 minutes to go. You have the chance to hold them, force overtime. You do not. Let's go to, first of all, I agree with you on the LSU perspective. I know Brian Kelly's kind of an easy punching bag. Everybody loves to make fun of him, whatever. But he did take accountability. Now, I know an LSU fan listening doesn't care about his accountability. They want the win.
Absolutely.
But he did take accountability. The one thing I'll say about LSU in the bigger picture, this is a 12-team playoff era. Interesting but manageable schedule with Ole Miss at home, with Alabama at home, et cetera, down the road. I do want to talk about the USC perspective, VJ.
Sure.
I know in a couple minutes we're going to talk about a guy that you and I both think gets a little too much negative attention thrown his way in Coach Prime, but I bring it up because I feel the same way about Lincoln Riley, and maybe you disagree, and let me just explain my side of things here, is that, listen, last year was a debacle. We all know that last year was a debacle. This is also what his record was in the 6 seasons before last season. 12-2, 12-2, 12-2, 9-2 in the COVID year, 10-2, 11-3 in year one at USC. And I understand that he doesn't have those super signature wins, especially in the playoff, and I do understand also that he took over a very good situation with Bob Stoops. But the idea that this guy does not know how to, at the very least, put together a very good offense, and obviously I think he was humbled a little bit last year by the defensive miscues and everything. So I just bring it up because I didn't really understand the Lincoln Riley scorn, but I think last night proved, one, nailed the defensive coordinator hire with DeAnton Lynn, who, of course, is Anthony Lynn's son, coming from UCLA.
Yep.
But two, this guy still knows how to develop quarterbacks, and even if the offense takes a little bit of a step back, if that defense can play as consistently well as it did on Sunday night, they're going to win a lot of games.
I'm with you on the USC perspective. I just wanted to attack the LSU perspective because that's the sound that we had. Yeah. But no. I've always been a Lincoln Riley guy. Here's the thing that irritates me about sports, especially in football. Only one team's going to win the game, okay? And only one team's going to win the conference. And only one team's going to win the college football playoff and national championship. It's hard to win, guys, in sports. It's hard. I know some fans out there may have played, may have never played. Or hell, there are people in this business that's never played, okay? And that's not a knock. Those are just the facts, TV and radio side. It's hard to win. Football, so much has to go right for you to win, and not a lot can go wrong for you to win. That's just the way football has always been. So, yeah, he caught some flack, but at the end of the day, he also was able to move schools, bring a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, make USC relevant again, because other than the Reggie Bush era and Pete Carroll, after they all left, tell me what USC was, please. Somebody fill me in. I might have been in a cryo chamber somewhere, asleep for years and years, like the new Reggie Bush Heisman commercial. How beautiful is it?
It's a great commercial.
Bro, how beautiful is that? You talk about
back with the boys. RG3.
You talk about creativity. That's been a while. So what I missed? And Reggie Bush is one of my top 5 favorite college football players of all time. But it's great to see that they won the game. You can see that they're back. He can coach football. You talk about a man that can scheme and call plays. This kid Branch that they have it's Zachariah Branch from the Vegas area is phenomenal. And as I said at the top of the hour, guess what, guys? He may not win a Heisman, but I think they'll be pretty okay without Caleb Williams because once again, somebody just remind me, what did Caleb Williams win while he was at USC?
A Heisman.
Team-wise.
No.
What did he win team-wise? So this kid is, you talk about a kid that's accurate, can put the ball right on his. I'm watching this game, Aaron. I'm like, God, both these young men are just putting the ball where it needs to be on almost every damn throw. And that's not what we saw over the totality of opening college weekend. But those two men, great win for USC, great leap for them. Now they got to get into the Big Ten to get with the big boys.
Yeah, 2 quick thoughts and we'll wrap here. One, first of all, Miller Moss, the USC quarterback, for people who talk about quote-unquote meaningless bowl games, this was a kid who we know the story, sat behind Caleb Williams, but I think people forget USC was actively recruiting quarterbacks out of the portal last year. He goes to the Holiday Bowl. He balls out 6 touchdowns. That's basically the night that he got this starting job. So don't tell me there's no, that all these bowl games are meaningless, because they were going after Will Howard pretty hard. They were going after some other guys. Really quickly with Cam Ward. Really quickly with USC. Okay, so we think that in this 12-team playoff era, we're probably looking at 3 to 4 Big Ten teams in the college football playoff. USC does not play Ohio State. They do not play Oregon. They do open Big Ten play against your Michigan Wolverines. You know that program as well as anybody. They also get Penn State. We just saw LeVar Arrington in the hall. LeVar's Penn State Nittany Lions looked much improved on offense. Again, it's tough to know. It's early. It's 1 week, but that defense has improved. They also close with Notre Dame. Do you think this is a team that can get to that kind of 10-2 range and be in the conversation for a playoff spot?
It's going to be hard, man.
Yeah.
It really is, because the SEC looks like it could be loaded. We'll get more into that. I could have an opinion about the weekend that they had. But it's going to be tough, man. I love this. I love this 12 team, because everybody, 12's too many. Oh, absolutely no. Actually, no, it's not. Because with NIL and portal, this really opens up well for 12 teams, because now you can change your team. Miami, you can change your team in 1 year by the portal and NIL. So I think they're borderline, but I would like to see what a team like SMU does. I would like to see what a team like Virginia Tech does, coming off that loss against Vanderbilt. And then some other Big Ten team. I just feel like somebody else from the Big Ten, could be Iowa, could be Wisconsin, that kind of makes a little jump this year and kind of wrecks 8 through 12.
Well, Iowa Hawkeyes couldn't stop scoring this weekend. 40 points in a win over Illinois State. So
Where'd that come from?
Well, no Kirk Ferentz. He's been holding the program back all these years.
3 touchdowns from K. McNamara, former Wolverine. What?
I will tell you, we talk about a third, fourth Big Ten team, and Iowa, Sam and I have talked about this before. Iowa, no Michigan, no Penn State,
Absolutely.
no Oregon. So you talk about a team that could potentially surprise him.